Okay, picture this. The world of horse racing. High stakes, big money, intense passion. But what happens when that glamorous stage becomes the scene for, well, a really elaborate, carefully constructed fraud?
And not just any fraud, one that involves betrayal at a really personal level.
Exactly. And then what does it actually take to expose something like that? And maybe more importantly, what are the costs, the real unexpected costs of fighting back?
Those are huge questions, and they really get to the heart of, well, how things work and how people operate, especially under pressure. The answers aren't simple, that's for sure.
No, they're not. And that's what we're diving into today. Welcome to the deep dive. We're plunging into the story told in excerpts from Dick Francis's novel High Stakes. And let me tell you, it's more than just a thriller.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a masterclass in deception, how it can hide right there in plain sight. And incredible lengths someone might have to go to, sometimes dangerous lengths, to bring it all down.
So our mission today, for you listening, is to unpack this. We want to pull out the key insights from this story. We'll look at how this scam was built piece by piece.
Yeah, and we'll also look at the protagonist's counterplan, which is just audacious, frankly. And we'll touch on those really human elements, What happens when trust just completely shatters, especially in this world of gambling and personal vendettas.
It's about the why as much as the what.
Exactly.
Okay, let's start with our main character, Stephen Scott. He's wealthy, owns racehorses, but crucially, he's also an inventor. He's got this analytical mind, creative.
Right, he sees patterns, but he comes into horse ownership with enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Definitely. But maybe not a full grasp of the shadier side of things.
That mix of smarts and initial maybe naivete is really important. He trusts his trainer, Jody Leeds, a lot.
Yeah, and that trust, well, it turns out to be a huge mistake. The first sign something's off is pretty small, almost easy to miss. Steven starts thinking Jody might be, filling the bill.
Tooling.
Like charging for schooling sessions for the horses, claiming a jockey like Raymond Child did them, when, well, he didn't. Small things, maybe adding up.
Okay, so Stephen confronts him.
He does. And it's uncomfortable, sure. But the real red flag for Stephen isn't just the denial, it's Jody's reaction. He gets immediately aggressive, super defensive. And here's the thing that really gets Stephen thinking. Jody never asks why. He doesn't say, why are you taking the horses away? He just shuts down.
That lack of curiosity, it screams guilt, doesn't it? Like, don't look closer.
Exactly. For an inventor like Stephen, who takes things apart to see how they work, that refusal to engage logically is a huge warning sign.
And it doesn't just stay at suspicious bills, does it? Things escalate fast.
Oh, dramatically. At Sandown Park Racecourse, Jody's horse box, driven by this guy Andy Fred, tries to leave with Stephen's best horse, Energize.
Wait, just tries to drive off with his horse?
Yep. And Stephen, in this moment of just sheer determination, stands right in front of the truck.
No.
He does. He gets hit by the wing, loses buttons off his coat, gets the wind knocked out of him. It's brutal.
Wow. Okay, so this isn't just about money anymore.
Not at all. It shows Stephen instantly how ruthless Jody is and how high the personal stakes are. Life and limb stuff.
So that initial fiddling was just the beginning.
Just the tip of the iceberg. Stephen's eyes are wide open now. He gets help from his friend, Charlie Canterfield, who's a sharp merchant banker.
Good friend to have in this situation.
Definitely. And together, they start putting the pieces together. They uncover this really elaborate betting fraud Jody's running.
How did that part work? It sounds complicated.
It was clever in a devious way. First, Jody introduces Stephen to a bookmaker, Ganser Mays. Makes him seem totally respectable, pillars of the community type.
Okay, builds trust there too.
Right. Then Jody encourages Stephen to bet on his own horses. But small amounts initially, like maybe 100 pounds each way.
Each way, meaning a bet to win and a bet to place.
Exactly. Safer bets. Jody even downplays it, saying it's scarcely more than 3 weeks training fees. And often these horses they pay out a little bit.
So it builds Stephen's confidence, makes him think Jody's tips are good, the system works.
Precisely. Classic grooming. Then comes the trap, the big bet. Jody pushes Stephen towards a supposedly sure thing, urges him to bet big, maybe 1,000 pounds, later even 3,000.
And on those big bets,
the horse suddenly fails, mysteriously. A buckle breaks on the saddle. The horse just runs terribly. Always something plausible, but suspicious.
Wow. And then what?
Then the psychological masterstroke. After a big loss like that, Stephen's horses would start winning again, but only on the smaller bets, rebuilding that confidence just enough.
So he keeps coming back.
Until Stephen finally has that aha moment. He sees the pattern. When I have my biggest bets, my horses don't win. It's systematic.
That's insidious. It's not just stealing money, it's manipulating trust, hope.
Absolutely. A really powerful form of psychological manipulation.
But the betting wasn't even the whole story, right? There was something else, something even more, well, brazen.
Yes, horse swapping. Stephen figures out Jody isn't just fixing races through bad rides or whatever.
Right.
He's physically swapping Stephen's valuable horses with inferior ones, sometimes even his own horses.
How on earth did he figure that out? Horses look similar, right?
They do. But remember that incident at Sandown when Stephen was comforting Energize in the crashed horse box?
Yeah, the near-death experience.
Well, spending that intense, prolonged time alone with a terrified horse allowed him to notice tiny details, very specific things.
Like what?
A slightly dished, sort of Arab-looking nose, a tiny nick near the tip of his left ear, and a small bald spot, maybe the size of an old twopenny piece, on his shoulder.
Wow, incredible detail. Things you'd only know from being really close.
Exactly. Intimate knowledge born from crisis. And that becomes crucial.
So how was Jody actually doing the swaps? How did he get away with it?
This is where Stephen's inventor brain kicks in again. He realizes Jody's exploiting a weakness in the system, the British thoroughbred passport system.
The horse passports. I thought they were quite strict.
They have outlines, vet markings when the horse is first named and registered. But crucially, Stephen realizes the really rigorous check only happens once for the horse's very first race.
Ah, so after that.
After that, if you have a substitute horse that generally matches the description, same color, height, basic markings, a subtle swap is possible. The checks aren't as detailed later on. People rely on the initial verification.
Exploiting trust in the system itself.
Precisely. And this suddenly explained other things too, why some of his other horses, like Ferryboat and Hermes, had suddenly started running so poorly.
They weren't just off their game. They were probably substitute horses.
Running way above their actual ability, yeah. So for Stephen, this discovery, especially about Energize, it makes it incredibly personal. Energize isn't just some asset on a balance sheet.
He's like Stephen said, a person I'd got to know in a horse box.
Exactly. So now, it's not just about exposing fraud. It's about getting Energize back.
Okay, so Stephen decides he needs to fight back. But how? He can't just go to the police with suspicions, right? He needs proof.
Right. And he decides on a counteroffensive, something complex, multi-layered. His friend Charlie calls it like one of Stephen's roll-a-toys, intricate things he invents, where all the little parts have to move perfectly.
A roll-a-toy counteroffensive, I like it. So who's on the team for this?
Well, Charlie Canterfield, the banker friend, is key. He provides money, strategy, connections. He also digs up dirt on Ganser Mays, the bookie.
What does he find?
He finds out Mays is aggressively buying up small bookmaking businesses that have gone bankrupt. Right after Mays apparently fed them bad tips, likely from Jody.
Destroying competitors and consolidating power. Nasty.
Very. And that leads them to Bert Huggerneck, an ex-bookie's clerk, described as gruff but loyal. Charlie brings him in.
Whoa.
Because Bert confirms the whole Ganser Mays strategy. His own former boss went bust because Mays gave him duff-gen bad info, saying Energize would lose when he was actually set to win on a small bet day. So Bert wants revenge on Mays.
Okay, motive established. Anyone else?
There's Owen Idris, Stephen's general helper, calm, methodical, practical, and incredibly loyal. He becomes essential for the hands-on stuff.
Right.
And then there's Alexandra Ward, or Allie, Stephen's American love interest.
How does she get involved? Is she a racing expert?
Not initially. They have this slightly awkward but charming meeting. Stephen actually offers her cab fare home twice just to prove he wasn't trying to,
And no strings attached.
Exactly. But she gets drawn in, first maybe unwittingly. Then she becomes a really willing and vital part of the plan, especially with scouting locations and helping with the actual swap later. A very unconventional team.
It really is. Okay, team assembled. What's the next step? They need a substitute horse, right?
Precisely. Stephen goes to Miami to a bloodstock sale, basically a big horse auction. And he buys a 5-year-old gelding named Blackfire. Costs him $4,600.
And Blackfire is the key because...
And almost a perfect double for Energize. Same height, elegant build, that dished Arab nose, black color. Crucially, no distinctive whorls, those hair patterns.
Making him easier to pass off as Energize.
Exactly. The vet report is interesting too. Says he's healthy, but notes he was probably tranquilized with acetpromazine recently. A little hint about his past, maybe.
Before they can launch this big plan, though, things get nasty again, don't they? Petty, even.
Yeah, a little taste of revenge from Jody's side. Jody's father, Quintus, and his wife Felicity, they arrange something.
What?
They get a massive pile of muck, horse manure, straw, sawdust, just like Jody's own dunghill dumped right in Stephen's driveway, 5 feet high.
Seriously, a giant muck heap.
Yep, with a charming handwritten note, shit to the shit.
Classy. How does Stephen react?
Calmly. Reports to the police. Considers getting it analyzed forensically. That just shows the level of personal animosity, doesn't it? But it doesn't deter him.
No, it probably fuels him. So on to the main event. The census trap. The horse swap. This sounds like something out of a movie.
It really does. It's Stephen the inventor applying his skills to logistics and deception. The plan is to swap the horses while Jody's horse box is on the road.
How do they even stop it?
They set up a fake government checkpoint. A Department of the Environment census point on the A34, a road they know Jody's horse box will use to get to Stratford races.
A fake census point. Can they pull that off?
They use a caravan as a fake office. Plaster it with official-looking signs and notices. Create that illusion of bureaucracy and authority.
Okay, so the horse box pulls in. Then what? Distraction.
Absolutely critical. Bert Huggernack is the star here. He's wearing a uniform that looks very official, police-like, even has a black and white checked band around his cap.
Yeah.
He directs the horse box into their designated spot.
Believable authority figure?
Totally. Meanwhile, inside the caravan, Allie is typing loudly on a typewriter that official clatter. And Owen is arguing with Jody's driver and the lad accompanying the horse, getting them tangled up in fake forms and procedures, deliberately frustrating them.
Keeping them busy, eyes off the prize.
For just long enough. While they're tied up in red tape, Stephen gets to work. He has to be incredibly fast.
What does he do?
He quickly gets energized out of Jody's box. Then, using a razor, this is crucial, he carefully creates that little bald spot on Blackfire's shoulder, the specific identifying mark he'd noticed on Energize.
Wow, adding detail to the double.
Exactly. Then Blackfire goes into Energize's spot in Jody's box. Stephen makes sure Blackfire is wearing Energize's specific rug, leg guards, head collar, all the gear. Meanwhile, the real Energize is quickly loaded into Allie's trailer, which they'd use to bring Blackfire.
How long did this take?
The plan allowed 4 minutes maximum. Incredible pressure.
I can barely imagine the tension. Did it work? Did they get away with it?
They did. Jody's horse box drives off towards Stratford, carrying Blackfire, completely unaware. Stephen even overhears the driver grumbling as they leave.
What'd he say?
Right. A lot of time wasting cobblers, that was. Perfect. They bought the whole census routine.
Okay, so the swap is successful. Now what happens at the race?
Stephen is at Stratford, watching. He sees Felicity Leeds, Jody's wife, and she looks absolutely devastated.
Why?
Because the horse running under the name Pedelic, who everyone thinks is Energize, is actually Blackfire, and Blackfire runs terribly, finishes dead last.
So Felicity's reaction confirms the swap worked.
Exactly. And it also shows the human cost. Even on the other side, remember, she'd been furious with Stephen, called him bloody complacent claptrap. He even said, I could kill you for hurting Jody by taking his horses away.
Yeah.
Now she sees the result, though she doesn't know why the horse ran so badly.
The ripples spread out. Okay, so Energize is safe. Blackfire took his place. What's the next move for Jody and Maze? They must realize something's wrong.
They do. Stephen has moved the real Energize to another trainer's stable for safety, Rupert Ramsey's place. Rupert and his stable lad, Donnie, notice almost immediately that this isn't the horse that ran at Stratford. They know the difference.
So the truth is starting to emerge.
And Jody and Ganser Maze figure it out too. That night, they, along with another man named Macrahenish, break into Rupert Ramsey's stable. They're there to steal back the horse they think is Energize.
But Stephen anticipated this.
He did. He's always thinking ahead. He'd arranged for security guards to be there. And witnesses, get this, a lady magistrate and the local vicar.
Wow. Talk about reliable witnesses. What happens during the break-in?
It gets ugly. There's a struggle. And in the chaos, Macrahenish kills the horse in the stable.
Oh no, he kills Energize.
That's what everyone thinks for a moment. But no, remember the swap? Stephen had actually swapped them again. The horse Macrahenish kills is Blackfire.
He swapped them back. Why?
Presumably anticipating this very move that they'd come for the horse at Rupert's. He put the less valuable horse, Blackfire, back in the line of fire. An autopsy later shows Blackfire was killed with a massive injection of chloroform, straight to the heart, done by a practiced hand.
Chilling. Who is this Macrahenish guy?
Rupert identifies him. He's a vet who was struck off, lost his license, did jail time for doping horses and fraud, strictly banned from racecourses and stables.
So a known criminal associate.
Exactly. And then Stephen delivers the final blow. He tells Jody, right there, amidst the chaos and the dead horse, The horse you've killed is an American horse called Blackfire, not Energize.
The look on Jody's face must have been something. The whole scheme utterly dismantled.
A devastating reveal. Victory for Stephen, but still tragic for the horse, Blackfire.
Is that the end of the violence? Surely Ganser Mays doesn't just walk away.
No. He completely loses it. He's enraged. The deception, the financial loss, the humiliation. He goes after Stephen personally, breaks into Stephen's
A
workshop.
place where he invents things. His sanctuary.
Exactly. And he just destroys it. Tears up design drawings like confetti, smashes prototype toys, even the original roll of merry-go-round Stephen made when he was just 15.
Yeah.
Splashes oil paint everywhere. Pure vandalism aimed at destroying Stephen's identity.
That's brutal. Personal and vicious.
And it gets worse. He finds an axe in the workshop, Stephen's own axe, and attacks Stephen with it.
Oh, my God.
Stephen describes the feeling just sheer mental terror, extreme physical fear, facing someone clearly intent on murder.
How does he survive?
He's cornered, exhausted. In desperation, he kicks the main power switch for his workshop machinery.
Turns everything on.
Yes. Ganser Mays, in his blind rage, swings the axe, misses Stephen, but the axe blade gets caught, stuck firm in the main drive belt of the machinery.
No!
Mays is holding on tight, can't let go, and the moving belt just sweeps him off his feet. He's pulled up towards the ceiling, caught and crushed by a big wheel, killed instantly.
Horrifying. What a way to go.
Truly. Owen Idris actually arrives back with the police just then and witnesses the immediate aftermath, an incredibly grim end caused by his own uncontrollable fury.
Even in self-defense, witnessing that must leave a scar on Stephen.
Absolutely. It's the kind of trauma that doesn't just disappear. Even when justified, the act itself is devastating. It really highlights the extreme cost of confronting this level of violence.
So, Jody's exposed, Mays is dead, Makrishnish caught. Surely Stephen is seen as the hero now. Vindicated.
You would think so. But reality is messy. Remember that brief period after the workshop incident? Stephen, presumably in shock, passes out in a car and gets arrested for being drunk in charge.
Yo, right. Bad timing, bad optics.
Exactly. The media latches onto that. He gets painted as this big rich bully who just suddenly dumped Jody Leeds without a second's notice. Public sympathy, bizarrely, swings towards Jody, the supposedly unfortunate trainer.
So no public justice for Stephen.
Not really. It shows how hard it is to win the perception battle. A moral victory doesn't always mean the public understands or accepts it. The narrative got twisted.
That's incredibly frustrating after everything he went through.
It is, and Stephen reflects on that. The cost was immense. The drunk conviction, the physical injuries he sustained, his workshop destroyed, Owen put in danger, and the deaths, even if they brought it on themselves.
Because he regret it.
He concludes their own violence led to their doom. And despite everything, all the pain and cost, he says he does not regret taking action. That conviction is powerful.
So what happens after all this fallout? What about Energize?
Well, Stephen does something really lovely. He doesn't keep Energize just for himself. He formally gives Energize away to his 4 key allies.
Charlie, Allie, Owen, and Bert.
Exactly. They become the horse's newly registered joint owners, a symbol of their shared fight and victory.
That's a great gesture. Does Energize race again?
He does. Under his new collective ownership, he runs in the Champion Hurdle, a very prestigious race.
And how does he do? Does he win? The fairy tale ending.
It's described really excitingly. He runs brilliantly, starts 6th, moves up, jumps beautifully with the economy of all great jumpers. He even has to dodge another horse that falls near him, fights incredibly hard. He finishes 2nd by a short head. So close.
Oh, almost.
Yeah. As Stephen reflects, maybe it's a reminder that you can't always expect perfect fairy tale endings. Not in racing, maybe not in life. But finishing 2nd like that, after everything, is still a huge triumph of spirit.
Definitely. A testament to the horse. Are there any other sort of positive outcomes?
There are. Remember those small bookies Ganser Mays was trying to bankrupt?
Yeah, the ones he fed bad tips to.
Well, now that Mays is gone and they're saved, they actually get together and collect money for the Injured Jockeys Fund. And they do it specifically in honor of the firm of Scott, Canterfield, Ward, Idris, and Huggerneck.
Wow. That's a quiet but meaningful form of vindication, isn't it? Recognition from those who understood what Mays was doing.
It really is.
And what about Stephen personally, his relationship with Allie?
That seems to blossom. She says the whole adventure was more fun than she could have imagined, quite a statement given the danger. And Stephen finds himself feeling very strongly for her, thinking about marriage. That shared experience clearly forged a deep bond.
Good for them. Does Stephen stay involved with horses?
He does, but in a new way. He actually starts learning to ride racehorses himself.
Yeah.
Rupert Ramsey, the trainer who helped him, makes him an offer to come down and start learning.
From owner to writer, that's quite a shift.
It feels symbolic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like he's immersing himself fully now, understanding it from the inside, not just as an owner vulnerable to deception.
And finally, do Stephen and Charlie ever figure out why Jody and Maze were like this? Just greed.
They ponder it. Charlie has a chilling thought. He suggests maybe they weren't just greedy, maybe they were natural haters, drawn together by a kind of natural evil.
Haters, meaning
Meaning they actually enjoyed the deception, the control, maybe even the idea of the victim's pain. That the suffering they caused wasn't just a side effect of the crime, but part of the motivation.
that's a much darker thought than simple greed. Like the cruelty was the point, or at least part of the thrill.
Exactly. A really disturbing insight into that kind of criminal mindset. It suggests the stakes for them weren't just money, but something psychological too.
Wow. Okay, so this deep dive into high stakes, it's really shown us a lot. Beneath that glamorous surface of racing, some really complex, nasty stuff can be going on.
Absolutely. And Stephen Scott's story. It's not just about getting his horse back. It's about ingenuity, incredible courage, finding allies in unexpected places.
And the huge personal price tag that can come with fighting for what's right.
Indeed. We saw him take down this whole criminal operation piece by piece.
Right.
But it cost him. Physically, emotionally, financially, and he didn't even get that clear public win. The perception got muddied.
Which leaves us with a really interesting question for you, the listener, to think about. In a world like ours, where justice isn't always perfect, where what people think happened can matter more than the truth, and where fighting back, even successfully, can leave deep scars, what actually counts as a victory?
Yeah. What does winning truly look like in those messy situations? And maybe more pointedly, when is it worth risking potentially everything, your reputation, your safety, your peace of mind, to stand up for what you believe is right, even if you know the world might never fully get it or give you credit?